Hey y'all, have a topic today that comes up a lot when I'm doing individual counseling, which is how do you date to get married? So there's a lot of reasons why people date, right? And I think it's great to have your idea of like what your intention is when you're dating because dating is fun, right? Going out and meeting new people, doing that is a very fun and can be a very exciting dynamic time of your life. And it should be something you celebrate and enjoy, not just think about as like being this like limbo purgatory sort of thing, which I think is what it can feel like sometimes. Especially nowadays where we have all the app dating and everyone's focused on like how they can find somebody that's going to be really interesting, and feeling very discouraged often. That's what I hear a lot. It's just like, oh man, just having a hard time meeting people. So we're going to talk today about the best way to approach doing that, right? So first thing that you need to do is set your intention, right? What are we trying to accomplish? Are we going on dates just to have fun? Are we going on dates to to meet someone that we feel like we want to spend the rest of our life with, right? There's a big difference there, right? Because I'm sure, and I'm not saying it's invalid to at times go on dates just for fun, but if you're going on dates to try to meet somebody that you could spend the rest of your life with, that's a totally different thing. So set your intention first. And I think, for whatever reason, people always, I sell this a lot to people, they really buy. But I think it's a really attractive quality in life in any person when they say, this is something I'm trying to do, right? I want to be in a relationship. I'm dating someone to be in a relationship, or I'm meeting people to be in a relationship. Tell your friends, hey, I would like to be in I want to meet somebody, anyone that you think would be interesting. For whatever reason, especially in American culture, I think we think about this as like being a desperate or lame thing to do. But in every other area of your life, like if you're like, hey, I want a promotion, or I want to buy a house, or I want to get a new car. And if you were to say that to your friends, they'd be like, that is awesome. I want to support you. I want to help you. I want to, hear about how it's going and be there with you. But we feel like we need to kind of play it cool when it comes to dating. And there's this kind of popular wisdom in quotes here, that it's going to happen when you least expect or when you're not trying, right? Which I guess, people have told themselves that's what has happened to them. But the reality is, like, you should be intentional. It's great to be intentional. It's great to say, I want to do this, and so I'm going to do it. Right? This is what I'm going to focus on. So, be intentional. Be out there and say, like, I want to be in a relationship. Now, when you're starting to date someone, you're meeting somebody on the apps, or someone's introducing you, and you're trying to suss out, like, all right, what am I seeing here? What's good? What's bad? Sometimes I find, the big thing I would say is, like, have criteria, have an idea of what you're looking for and how you're gonna evaluate for that, right? Because what I find often is that people can get really kind of stuck in the weeds, when it comes to, oh, is this a red flag? Is this a problem? The red flags should be glaring for you, right? It's like, all right, they had 7 drinks on our first date. That is a red flag, right? They should red flags shouldn't be like their teeth are too big, right? Like, just so you know, that have red flags in your mind that are like specific and obvious, not that are like vague. Because if it's vague and you're like, is this a red flag? It's not a red flag. It's an issue you might need to figure out, but it's not a like major issue. Have some obvious red flags, but then have, I would say, 5 things that you're looking for in somebody, right? I want somebody who is a hard worker. That's a totally awesome trait to want in a partner. How do you know? Then this is the second part. How do you know that they're a hard worker? What is evidence that you're going to be able to look for and see that they're a hard worker, that you can, to help you kind of like identify that that's something I can veritably check off the list, right? Now, I say 5 because if we go into this idea of like making a Franken boyfriend or girlfriend, of all these different parts, and we have this really, really specific idea as to what we're looking for, what you do is that you remove the possibility of chance and what I think about is like the most romantic and exciting part about meeting somebody, which is like being surprised by things that you didn't even expect to want or be attracted to. Have the things that you think are most important, that are like pivotal to, what's going to make a marriage work for you. But allow yourself to be surprised too by traits that you had never even thought about. If you get too specific into like what you're looking for, then you're not going to have that opportunity, which I think is a wonderful opportunity. So come up with a list of 5 things you're looking for. Find, think about specific ways that you're going to be able to assess whether the person has that, and start looking for that when you're going out on dates. Now, a rule of thumb that I have when you are meeting somebody, right? You have a first date. Ask yourself, am I curious about this person? Do I want to know more about them? And if the answer is yes, then that's great. That's a great reason to go for a second date, right? The answer is no. You're like, they had 7 drinks. They're just not. I feel like I don't have much more interest in them. Then that's a great reason to not go on a second date. Sometimes I think we get this idea that like someone has to commit a massive like capital crime to not go out with them again. It's a totally valid reason to not go out with someone again. Just be like, I'm just like not intrigued, right? And that's okay. But to be intrigued and to continue to be intrigued, that's a great reason to continue meeting somebody, right? So big focus here. Set your intention. What are you looking for when you're dating? Come up with some criteria. What are the red flags and make them obvious. What are the 5 things that I'm looking for? How am I going to know if this person has it? And then open yourself up to being surprised. And that's some of the most romantic, exciting moments that you can have in your life is to be surprised by people. So don't make a Franken boyfriend or girlfriend. That's the goal. So, once you meet this wonderful person, head on over to Launch to Land, do the premarital readiness course, and you'll be able to talk all about all of these things and more. Thank you for watching today. Make sure, as always, to like and subscribe. All right. Talk to you later.